What's up, everyone? It's Phoenix here, bringing you guys a podcast episode where today we're going to be talking about at what point is it too much to continue a series, whether it's a video game, a movie franchise, or even especially a book series. Because movies and TV shows and even video game series can be, that's up to the publisher and the producer. But more specifically, book series is 100% controlled by the author, by one person making the decision to continue writing whatever they want to do. And at some point, it can feel like, yeah, I should continue writing this series. It's doing really well. People love it, and it needs to continue on. But there's also the other side where if you write too much, people will begin to not always consider the books canon. Especially with The Cursed Child. It was not technically written by J.K. Rowling. It was written by two other guys, and basically J.K. Rowling said, yeah, this is canon. And at that point, it's like, okay, but technically speaking, it is fan fiction. Just because you say that it is canon doesn't disregard the fact that it's fan fiction because it was written not by you. But others would argue that The Cursed Child is canon because she said so. And she did contribute a little bit. Tiny bit in The Cursed Child. However, most of it was written by someone else. And that's where people get the idea that Cursed Child is not canon. Now, technically speaking, the author can decide whatever they want to do. The author has full reign and full control of the universe that they built. And a lot of people would argue that, yeah, she can make the decision whether or not it's canon. She says it's canon, so it's canon. But at the same time, there's a lot of elements in The Cursed Child that conflict with the 7 books that make up the entire universe, the ones that were published before it. And there's a lot of contradictions between it, like how the time turners work differently in The Cursed Child than they did in Prisoner of Azkaban. People were completely fine with the way that it worked in Prisoner of Azkaban, but suddenly you introduce this new method of time turners, and it kind of conflicts with what the 7 books, the first 7 books, set as the canon universe. And people would also argue that there are moments where the characters themselves are out of character, and that's when they behave in an unusual manner, in an unnatural manner than they would normally. And even with, the Percy Jackson series, there are many who believe that it should have ended with the Blood of Olympus. And that should have been it for Percy Jackson, at least. I don't think people have anything against, Magnus Chase or the Kane Chronicles. What people have against is the Trials of Apollo, which are taking measures that people don't necessarily like. Now, I personally have not read the Trials of Apollo, so I can't really speak to them. But what I can say is that there's definitely a line that authors need to be careful of. And not just authors, but creators, directors, whoever's in charge of making a product. There is a line where people are going to be not as accepting of your works, especially when it gets drained out. There are certain people who would believe that certain Star Wars movies and comic books are not canon because they contradict the established universe, and that's where we get this whole canon universe and extended universe and what is and what isn't, and it's constantly changing, even with the DC universe and the Marvel universe. Everything's always changing. And there is a point where it gets too much. And that's something that needs to be discovered by the author. There needs to be a time where there is an ending. Because at some point you might actually slip up and have something that contradicts something in the past. And that's what the Star Wars universe has definitely done. And even in the Harry Potter universe, that's why most people don't consider the Cursed Child as the 8th or 9th adventure or whatever, because it contradicts a lot of the things that are established in the 7th book, or in the first 7 books. And while it is J.K. Rowling's decision to make, it's also, up to the fans, the readers, the viewers, whoever is part of the community, to determine how they perceive the fandom that they're a part of. And yeah, technically speaking, the Cursed Child will always be canon, unless J.K. Rowling says otherwise. But at the same time, an author can't force a viewer or a reader or whatever to accept the terms that they've laid out. They don't necessarily have 100% control of their own universe, because a lot of it does have to do with the perception of what the reader believes or what the viewer believes. And, the people that make up the community do have a lot of power as well. And there's no set rules of what you can and can't do. I mean, the author is in 100% control of the universe. Yes, the Cursed Child is canon, unfortunately. It is canon. But that doesn't mean that it's a good idea to make it canon. Right? There is this fine line between fan fiction and the original work, the canon work, the work that is done by the author themselves. Right? And if something is written by someone that is not the original creator, a lot of people will say that shouldn't be canon. That should be fanfiction or whatever. But also, if you look at other universes, like the DC universe, a lot of the original writers are dead, or at least retired. So it's not like the universe just has to end. But I mean, the comic universe is a lot different from a book series. A book series tends to be longer because there's longer pages, a lot more words, a lot more things to do. In a comic universe, however, there are so many issues that eventually you're going to have different writers taking their turns at it. And they can very well change whatever they want to change, whether it's for good or for worse. A lot of people are against book to movie adaptations or whatever, book to show universes or adaptations. And that's simply because there's another person that is changing what people know about the universe. There are many people who don't believe that the Harry Potter movies are good. I, for one, think they are really good. However, I would not consider them better than the books because the books have simply more detail. They have more time. They have more growth. They have more, I know them better, right? So it's not, I view them as two separate things. Not the same thing. I don't view the Harry Potter books as the same as the Harry Potter movies. I believe they're two completely different entities and different, they have different evaluations. But now we have The Cursed Child, which is technically a book that is published, and it's being said that it is canon. However, it's not written by the author. It's written by someone else. And that's where people have problems. But at the same time, it is technically up to J.K. Rowling, whatever her name is, to decide that. It is up to the author to decide what they want to do with the universe. However, there needs to be a point where it all ends. Otherwise, you end up with the Star Wars, where they don't know what to do. Many believe that Star Wars should have ended with the last episode. And there shouldn't be a Force Awakens. There shouldn't be a Last Jedi. There just should have been, Empire, what did they call it? It should have ended with the first 3 movies. Or technically the last 3 episodes. A lot of people don't believe that there should have been a reboot, basically. Which is basically what Force Awakens and what Last Jedi is. It's a reboot of the franchise that people know and love. Well, at some point, there needs to be an ending. A New Hope. Yeah, people believe that it should have been A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, maybe the prequels, and that's it. That should have been those movies. There shouldn't have been more movies. But now there is, and there's extending upon it. And a lot of people don't like that. Because, one, it feels like they're just copying what was done before. It does feel like that. And the other is, it didn't need an extended universe. It didn't need more movies. Because it was already built by the fandom that it has, right? There's already a huge, community for it that basically takes it on their own. If that makes sense. Like, that should have been the ending. But of course, it's not. And technically speaking, whether you like it or not, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are both canon. Because they're both in the main storyline. They're both in the main franchise. And Rogue One is just a spin-off series. Is a spin-off movie. And I really like Rogue One. But some could argue that it's not necessarily canon because it's not part of the main line. I mean, I think it is canon. That's the whole point of it. Is that it is canon. It's just a spin-off. It's not part of the main installments. But it gets complex when you keep going on and you keep doing these things. It might sound great, but at the end of the day, there needs to be an end. There needs to be an end. This isn't like a cartoon show where it just goes on and on and on. There's a running gag that Nickelodeon never ends their shows. And honestly, I can only count, on one hand, the number of shows that have actually ended with a finale and everything. I know iCarly has. I think Drake and Josh did. And I think Zoe 101 did. But I don't remember. Victorious got canceled in the middle of it. So it didn't technically ever get a finale. But then SpongeBob is still going on. I don't even know where Fairly Godparents is going. I think Fairly Odd Parents is going. I don't know. But I think technically speaking, it has never ended. And they keep putting it on Nicktoons, which is basically the network where the show never ends, but it technically ends. It's the end of the show, but it never ends. A big part of me wants an animated series reunion. I really want to see a more Justice League animated series. But at the same time, I don't know if we should. Because Justice League Unlimited was an amazing finale. With Alive and Destroyed was an amazing finale to that universe. And if we continue it, would it be the same thing? Would it feel the same? Would it be what we hope it to be? I know Teen Titans has finally been confirmed to have a season 6. And that's amazing. But the question is, will it be the same thing? Will it feel the same? Will it seem the same? Or will it just seem like another, Cursed Child incident? Where it doesn't feel like it's actually canon. Where it doesn't feel like its previous works. I think every series and franchise needs to know where their end is. Because at some point, it becomes too much. It becomes milked. It seems overdone. It seems, you basically kill the fandom because people are sick and tired of hearing the same story. And an author, I want to write a book or make a movie. Or not a movie. Not a movie. A game. I want to make a video game series. I would love to do that. And I would love to make something like, Harry Potter or, Percy Jackson or even Lord of the Rings or Star Wars where there's a huge fandom behind it. People want it to continue. But at the same time, I don't really want that. Because I know that at some point, I would have to end it. I know that there has to be an ending to that story. And a lot of people are perfectly fine with Deathly Hallows being the last adventure, which it was supposed to be. J.K. Rowling said herself that she was ending at 7. And in my opinion, that would be the smart decision. Maybe, I love the fact that they're doing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, because it's a prequel. But I don't love that they're continuing on the Harry Potter franchise. Most likely because, honestly, I don't think J.K. Rowling wants to start a new story. She does have some small works, but they're not nearly as big as Harry Potter. Harry Potter is her most successful franchise. It's the one that made her basically a millionaire, or billionaire, or whatever. I'm pretty sure she's a millionaire, at least. It made her who she is today. And it's scary to think that you just have to let it go. But as a creator and an author and a developer or whatever you are, it is your responsibility to figure out where that end is. Would Elder Scrolls have 50 versions? No, I don't think it should have 50 versions. In fact, I technically think that it should end at 10. And that should be it. That should be done. And, they should have their new series, Starfield, or whatever they want to do. I think Fallout should also have an end. Maybe, Fallout 5, or maybe Fallout 10 should be the end. And that's it. Because when you get to the point where there is no end, you start to lose people. It starts to change what the universe started as. And that's the problem. That a lot of these franchises, a lot of these series that keep going on and on and on and on, they change. And when they change, the fandom changes. And for better or for worse, there needs to be an end. Anyways, that's just something to think about. I was thinking about it, and I just wanted to talk about it. So that's what this is. Anyways, let your place with Time Bright. You guys are amazing. Peace out. Have a good day. Thank you guys so much for coming by, and peace out, guys. It's been a blast.